If he's not the Antichrist, he's going to play a big part in the end times delusion and deception. I think, hopefully, we could at least agree on that. But this great invocation prayer is very, very important to the occultists. I mean, really super, super important, obviously. They really emphasize it a lot in their literature. And if it's that important to them, it's something that we as Christians need to pay attention to and really come against in prayer. Now, I understand that in order for the Bible to be fulfilled, Revelation, Daniel, the Antichrist is going to make an appearance, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. But it doesn't mean we're not supposed to we're just supposed to sit down and just let evil overcome us and not do anything about it. We're supposed to occupy until Jesus Christ comes. We're supposed to be as a good soldier. We're supposed to earnestly contend for the faith that was once delivered unto the saints, as the book of Jude talks about. We're not supposed to quit fighting, really, ever. So this is something, when I see how important it is to occultists, to the most high-level New Agers, to the people that are essentially going to be taking over, well, and they already have taken over world government, but to overtly take it over and for it to be out in the open. When I see something this important to them, I want to make sure I'm informing people so that they can come against it with prayer, fasting, however the Lord leads you. And again, that's a big thrust of why this ministry is why it is. Not because we can be like the National Enquirer and report on all this stuff and be in shock and awe about the whole thing, but to actually come against it in prayer, fasting, these types of things. Because the bottom line is, if nobody is doing that, then there's going to really be no spiritual opposition to what's going on with this wickedness that we're in reference to. So let's go further. The universal use of the Great Invocation on the World Invocation Day charges this day with deep spiritual significance, for it builds a channel through which light, love, and power can reach and irradiate the hearts and minds of people everywhere. Isn't that what they're irradiating meat now, and they expose it to this high level radiation, and it's kind of the same thing. It's irradiating your hearts and minds everywhere. Now, the Bible says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9. He who trusteth in his own heart is a fool. Proverbs 28:26. You could go on and on and on. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Proverbs 14:12 and 16:24. So, when you have something, you'll always notice in New Age literature, in the occult, in witchcraft, a lot of it has to do with your heart. And that's what's emphasized. Now, they have a little asterisk on their website which says, in accordance with the changing consciousness and the language of humanity as we enter into the Aquarian age, this adapted wording of this invocation prayer is offered in hope that it will encourage a wider distribution of this world prayer. Now, what do they mean with this? What is this about? What do you mean adapted wording? Well, this prayer that they've got currently on worldinvocationday.org is not the original invocation prayer. It's not. Okay? This is a very sanitized version. In fact, I'm not even going to read it. It's very sanitized. It's asking for the coming one to come, the world leader, which they identify as Maitreya. But it's adapted. I thought it was interesting they had an asterisk here. So what do the original ones say? Well, let's look at that. This is a comment I put in there. The Great Invocation is a world prayer that New Agers and occultists regard as a, quote, instrument of power to aid the plan of God to find full expression on earth, end of quote. Now, another thing that you'll see a lot with these really high-level New Agers, I was watching a video clip last night of these devils that go around and go to these places that they refer to as stargates or portals around the earth, and they literally, their whole lives are dedicated to opening up these energy vortexes, portals, stargates, whatever you want, and literally allowing the devils and the demons and the fallen angels through into our plane of existence. Kind of like in the Bible where it talks about where the abyss is opened in Revelation. It's similar to that. Okay, so you can get a conception of what they do. There's people that their whole life's devoted to this. These ones are called the star doves. And they literally have, you can go there and they got all these people. I mean, these people are as hardcore occultists as anybody I have ever seen. And oh, they act as though we're just all about love and peace and Mother Gaia and everything's wonderful and good, and we're going to let these devils and demons through these openings. What do you think CERN's about? The Large Hadron Collider. It's about opening gateways into our plane of existence. It's about the same thing that Aleister Crowley was accomplishing with the most high-level witchcraft ceremony he ever performed was called the Alamtroth working, where he invited this thing through this gate or whatever that he created through witchcraft called Lam, and he looks a lot like the modern-day gray alien. And then L. Ron Hubbard, the guy that started Scientology, who was nothing more than a Satanist or Luciferian, and we've done a whole study on Scientology, and Ron Parsons from Jet Propulsion Laboratory, they did another working after Crowley died called the Babylonian working, where they were literally inviting or invoking the whole, I believe they were referred to as the Whore of Babylon, through these gates. Occultists, the point here is that occultists are obsessed with invoking, which is what this prayer is called. It's invoking. It's an invocation prayer. These evil, usually fallen angelic or demonic entities through into our plane of existence. They're being lied to and told that if you invite us through, then we'll be able to. See, there's been a certain amount of restraint that God has put here on planet Earth. But that restraining hand is slowly being removed. And the Bible even refers to that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where it says, "He who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way." And then what is the byproduct of that? Then that wicked one, being the Antichrist, will be revealed. The Bible says that he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. I don't really think he's going to be taken out of the way all just at one fell swoop. It's a gradual removing of this protective hand of God. Doesn't mean that God can't protect Christians. It just means that this restraining force of evil, which is going to come in conjunction with the Antichrist being revealed. And then the Bible goes on to say there that for this cause God shall send them strong delusion. See, God's going to be sending it. That they will believe a lie. That they might all be damned who received not the love of the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. And that's really a warning to humanity in general. I mean, are you taking pleasure in unrighteousness? Are you taking pleasure in being deluded and deceived? You know, what I don't know won't hurt me, or whatever those expressions they have. Ignorance is bliss and all. The Bible says that you can be destroyed for lack of knowledge, according to Hosea 4:6. And the Bible says, "Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee and thy children, and thou shalt be a priest to me no more." So it says that in Hosea 4:6, the whole verse. So it's not really something I really want to mess around with, because I've rejected knowledge. And again, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So this is something we need to be on guard against, is the point I'm trying to make. The Great Invocation is actually an occult prayer used to invoke demons, to prepare, or fallen angels, demons, evil entities, whatever you want to call them, to prepare the way for the revealing of Antichrist, who New Agers refer to as the coming one. There are several versions of the Great Invocation. Some sites claim the original Great Invocation was written in 1945, while others disclose that the one written in 1940 reveals that death actually is what fulfills the purpose of the coming one. In the 1940 version of the Great Invocation, the words "the coming one" and "death" are actually used. Death is an integral part of the plan to bring about a one-world government and a one-world religion, the New World Order. Okay, so let's just read. I'm just going to read you a few lines from the 1940 Great Invocation. It says, "Let the lords of liberation issue forth. Let them bring succors to the Son of Men. Let the rider from the secret place come forth. And coming save. Come forth, O mighty one. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one." Now you can understand why there was that asterisk that I read you. Let me read it to you again, regarding what Lucius Trust put up there